So we've identified different risks. I wanted to just one quick note. SCORE, we used this model, but we didn't explain the meaning of the word. So SCORE is an acronym for Supply Chain Operations Reference Model. And the main thing to just remember is that it's plan, source, make, deliver, return. Okay, so what does it look like when we actually create a failure modes and effects analysis? So we pick out a process function. In this case, it's drill a blind hole, and we look at the potential failure modes, and we have two types of failures. One is the hole's too deep, and one the hole is not deep enough, and we have different effects for these failures, and then different causes or potential causes of those particular effects. Then we move on to the guts of the model, which is the severity, and this one is rated on a 1 to 10 scale. 1 would be no problem at all, and 10 is horrible, gonna lose the company or kill somebody or something. Likelihood of occurrence, again, a small number means it's not likely to occur, a larger number means it's more likely to occur, and finally a detectability number. In this case, maybe you have to think about it just a moment, but the more likely you are to detect the problem, then the lower the score is. And the idea there is that if you can easily detect it, then we can catch it before it becomes a big mistake. Instead of just multiplying our errors, we'll catch it after we only make one mistake or so. So a 3, it means we're more likely to detect. 6s mean we're less likely to detect. And then finally, the RPN number, or risk priority number, is just the multiplication of these three numbers. Let me go back here to this previous slide. We had the risk priority number here, but I favor, it's not always done, but I think it's good practice to turn around and resort based on a decreasing RPN, and that gives your most important problem at the top, and so on. And that's the way management would generally like to see risk evaluations. Now, for a t-shirt, don't bother with the mitigation because we'd just be making them up anyway. But on your application, when you do that later in the term, then you would want to complete these. So some notes, finally, some considerations on the t-shirt FMEA. Go back to your flow chart and cause and effect diagram might give you some ideas of where the failures could occur and maybe what type. Just a hint. I didn't count off, I don't believe, on anyone for not including this, but who does Shanghai Knitwear buy the cotton from? They don't buy it from Ranch Farm. And the book explains this. Maybe you have to read a little bit more carefully. They actually buy it from a farmers cooperative, and this is typically the way farming marketing, if you're talking about commodity items, is done. The individual farmers will sell to a co-op, and then the market buys from the co-op. And then look at the usual suspects. Remember, we had that triangular diagram earlier of quality and cost and time. So you probably have about 2 quality considerations. A hint here: this is a sewn T-shirt that is screen printed. So that was a pretty loud hint, as my daughter would say. I would say at least 2 or more delivery or time. This is basically you deliver late. And so if you think about where this is coming from and the distances it's traveling, that could be a factor, certainly. And then finally, 1 or more cost failure modes. And this is hinted at in the section on the Wrench Farm. If you think about all the risk factors that would happen there, you might tend to think of that as, well, that's going to affect delivery or the supply. Not likely, because there's so many different suppliers. But if it happens on a wide enough area, for instance, just wiped out the Texas market, what's going to happen? companies are still going to buy cotton, but they're going to have to pay more for it. Is most likely what's going to happen. So that's a potential cost failure mode. So those are some considerations. Good luck. Ask me more questions if you have them, and I'll be glad to answer them. Thanks.